Imagine this. You're 5 years old, you're dressed in your school uniform, you're just stepping out of the assembly hall, making your way to the classroom, feeling happy, when all of a sudden the door right next to you bursts open and out pounces this short, plump, red-faced woman looking like a dragon, her eyes popping and screaming at the top of her lungs, "Who was it? Who was it?" And I'm standing there going, oh my God, what's she upset about? And I have no idea. Obviously, someone's done something terrible. And then she drops it. Who was it who was humming? I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I think that was me. Because I used to do that back in the day. But to not hum, that was like her saying, who was it who was breathing? I mean, I got into trouble fairly frequently for cutting my sister's hair off and giving her this terrible zigzag fringe as soon as my mum and dad stepped out of the house, putting the cat down the toilet, you know, those sort of normal childhood things. But humming, really? But Mrs. Short was well named. Not only was she about 5'2", but she made it her mission to cut all of us down to size. It was like she wanted to keep all of us small and box us into these neat little packages where we just kind of flapped our arms around and were good little children. And in that moment, I didn't utter a sound. I went quiet. And then to make matters worse, and she, determined to find out who this criminal person was who was humming, she marched 6 of us out into the playground for the whole school to look at and jeer at. We were obviously the naughty ones. And pacing up and down, she said, I'm not going to let you go home until someone has confessed who was the person who was humming outside my office door. And still I couldn't say a word. And in that moment, she won, because I felt so ashamed that I got all my friends into trouble, that I didn't have the courage to speak up at that moment, that she succeeded in exactly doing what she set out to do. She cut me down to size, and I was about 3 inches tall. And from that moment onwards, I never dared hum again while I was at school. In fact, I can't remember humming ever after that moment. And so this life of compliance, of fitting in, of trying to be who society wants to be, that was my mantra for the next 50 years until I finally broke free. And after running 6 different businesses, which my husband and I were very successful at, I finally found myself, allowed myself to do what makes me hum inside, what makes me vibrate and resonate with joy. And it's recording videos like this, but if I was to explain it to you so you could understand it, it's really helping people who haven't found their joy to find their joy, helping people whose life doesn't have a sense of meaning to find their meaning, because I know what it's like to spend 50 years feeling buried alive. And you know what's interesting? One of the things I do, I'm a word nerd, always have been. I love understanding where words come from. And I realized that that word H-U-M, those 3 letters, H-U-M, are the 3 letters that begin 3 of my favorite words. And those words are humanity. And humanity speaks to humane, what makes us human. The original derivation of that word humanity was that makes us human, that makes us kind. So understanding what it is to be kind, not just kind to others, but particularly kind to yourself. That's the first word. The second word, I love this word, is humility. And this comes from the Latin word humus, not humus, that's Greek, humus, H-U-M-U-S, which means earth. So remembering that we come from the ground, and with our feet grounded, embracing humility, that's when we can really stand up and be tall, not as Mrs. Short wanted. In fact, the more that we can embrace humility, the more we can soar to our true height without being overcome by our ego or doing it for the wrong reasons. And then the final H-U-M word that I love and that I'm really embracing right now in my own journey is humor. Humor is what helps us see the truth from a whole new angle, what cracks us open literally for the light to shine out of us and connects us with others in that moment of eruption, that éclat de rire, as the French would say, that burst of laughter. That's where we connect with others. So that's my offering today, that if you just choose one of these three words, humanity, humility, or humor, and you ask yourself, how can I bring more of that into my life right now? How can I become more of that? The interesting thing is, this is what will bring you to a state where you are humming all the time, where your body is vibrating with a whole new resonance, a whole new level of energy. That is the best way I can describe coming home to your true self and showing up as the fullest expression of you that ultimately is your purpose. So I hope that you found that helpful. Remember those three words, humanity, humility, and humor. Any one of those will lead you to a place where you spend your life standing tall and humming, not just humming, but singing that song that's in your heart.